In the grand theater of American politics, few moments capture the public's attention like presidential debates. These live, unscripted encounters between candidates have the power to elevate campaigns, solidify public perceptions, and even change the course of history. Since their introduction in the 20th century, debates have evolved from intellectual discourse to television spectacles, and now with the advent of social media, have become real-time, interactive political performances. But how did these debates come to hold such significance in U.S. elections? What factors drive their impact, and are they truly the kingmakers they are often portrayed to be? From the early days of radio and television to the meme-laden frenzy of Twitter and TikTok, U.S. presidential debates reveal much about the country's political culture. In this essay, we'll take a journey through the fascinating history of presidential debates, delve into their impact on electoral outcomes, and explore how modern technology is reshaping their relevance. The earliest precursor to modern presidential debates dates back not to a presidential election but to a senatorial one, the famous Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858. These 7 debates between Abraham Lincoln and Stephen A. Douglas in Illinois are often seen as the prototype for public political discourse in America. However, unlike today's fast-paced, televised exchanges, these debates were long-form, each lasting hours. Lincoln and Douglas engaged in deep discussions on pressing issues like slavery and state rights, setting a high bar for intellectual rigor. Though they weren't running for president, the Lincoln-Douglas debates illustrated the power of public political confrontation. Lincoln's thoughtful, moral stance against slavery, in contrast to Douglas's more politically expedient positions, would later resonate on a national level, helping Lincoln secure the presidency 2 years later in 1860. These debates foreshadowed how future presidential candidates would be judged not just by their ideas but by their ability to convey them convincingly in public forums. Fast forward to 1960, when presidential debates took a monumental leap into the television era. The first ever televised presidential debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon became a watershed moment in American political history. For the first time, millions of Americans could watch their potential leaders go head-to-head on live television. The impact of this visual medium was immediately apparent. Kennedy, young, charismatic, and prepared, came across as composed and confident. Nixon, on the other hand, appeared pale, sweaty, and uncomfortable, largely due to a poor decision to forego makeup. Even though those who listened to the debate on the radio thought Nixon had performed better, the television audience overwhelmingly favored Kennedy. This underscored the profound power of visual presentation, a realization that forever changed how candidates prepared for debates. Nixon's refusal to wear makeup may seem trivial, but it significantly affected how voters perceived him. His sweaty, tired appearance led to widespread perception that he was nervous and untrustworthy. This small aesthetic decision arguably shifted the election in Kennedy's favor. Nixon himself later acknowledged the error. Despite the success and influence of the 1960 debate, presidential debates did not immediately become a regular feature of U.S. elections. In fact, there was a 16-year gap before the next one occurred. This absence was largely due to strategic considerations from candidates and campaigns. Both incumbents and challengers realized that debates could be risky. One wrong move could turn the election tide. Debates resumed in 1976 when President Gerald Ford agreed to face off against Jimmy Carter. This debate is famous not for its policy discussion, but for a gaffe that damaged Ford's campaign. Ford claimed, "There is no Soviet domination of Eastern Europe," a statement that was factually inaccurate and made him seem out of touch with global geopolitics. This moment showed the inherent danger of debates. One slip of the tongue could lead to a loss of credibility and votes. The format of presidential debates has evolved over the decades, with different styles being used to test the candidates' abilities. Initially, debates took place with candidates standing at podiums engaging in direct responses to questions posed by moderators. However, in 1992, the debate format was transformed when the town hall style was introduced. In this format, regular citizens were allowed to ask the candidates questions, which added an element of unpredictability. The town hall format provided candidates an opportunity to connect directly with voters and demonstrate empathy, an increasingly important trait in modern politics. For example, Bill Clinton's 1992 performance in the town hall debate against George H.W. Bush is often cited as a turning point in that election. Clinton's ability to emotionally connect with a questioner on economic hardships helped solidify his "I feel your pain" persona. The town hall debate format originated in 1992, providing voters with the opportunity to directly ask candidates questions, adding spontaneity to the proceedings. It forced candidates to think on their feet and shifted the dynamic from scripted answers to more personal interactions. Debates are not just watched, they are mediated by an increasingly complex media landscape that shapes the public's perception of the event. Initially, television networks were the primary outlets for debate coverage, with commentators providing post-debate analysis. However, as time went on, the role of the media evolved. The advent of 24-hour news channels, talk radio and internet forums added layers of commentary, framing, and spin to the debates. Journalists covering debates often emphasize sound bites and memorable moments over substantive policy discussions, leading to a focus on gotcha moments or gaffes. The media's focus on spectacle over substance has, in some cases, diminished the educational value of debates, turning them into more of a political theater than a policy-driven discourse. Modern presidential debates are meticulously prepared for by the candidates. Gone are the days when candidates would simply read up on issues. Today, entire teams of political consultants, policy advisors, and debate coaches work to prepare candidates for every possible question or scenario. Mock debates are often held where candidates practice their answers, tone, body language, and responses to difficult questions. One of the most notable examples of intense debate preparation occurred in the 2016 election, where Hillary Clinton's team reportedly conducted numerous mock debates to fine-tune her responses. In contrast, Donald Trump took a more casual approach, relying on his instincts and showmanship rather than in-depth policy rehearsals. The contrasting preparation styles highlighted the importance of strategy in modern debates. Hillary Clinton's team famously prepared her for the 2016 debates with months of mock sessions, while Donald Trump relied more on instinct and minimal preparation. This contrast in styles became a talking point in the media. Throughout the history of presidential debates, certain moments have become iconic not for their policy implications but for the mistakes candidates made. These gaffes often live on in public memory and sometimes have lasting impacts on the election. One of the most famous examples of a debate gaffe occurred in the 1976 Ford-Carter debate, where President Gerald Ford mistakenly claimed that there is no Soviet domination of Eastern Europe. This factual inaccuracy was quickly seized upon by the media and his opponent, contributing to Ford's loss in the election. Similarly, in the 2000 election, Al Gore's performance against George W. Bush was criticized not for his answers but for his behavior. Gore sighed audibly and frequently interrupted Bush, which came across as condescending. His demeanor, more than his words, shaped public perception of that debate. On the other hand, some candidates have used debates to deliver memorable lines that defined their campaigns. Ronald Reagan, known for his charm and wit, famously diffused concerns about his age in the 1984 debate against Walter Mondale by quipping, "I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit, for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience." This humorous line disarmed the age issue and turned a potential weakness into a strength, showcasing Reagan's ability to connect with voters through humor. Reagan's performance in this debate is often cited as one of the best in modern political history. Ronald Reagan's quip about age in the 1984 debate is considered one of the most effective debate lines in history. It instantly silenced concerns about his age and allowed him to regain control of the narrative. While debates are among the most watched events of the election cycle, research suggests that they rarely cause dramatic shifts in public opinion. Most voters enter debates with their minds already made up, using the debate as a means to reinforce their pre-existing beliefs. In fact, studies have shown that debates have a modest impact on the electorate, often serving to solidify support rather than change it. However, debates do matter for undecided voters. In close elections, a single debate performance can tip the balance. For example, the 1960 Kennedy-Nixon debate is often cited as an example of how debates can sway undecided voters, particularly when the race is tight. Kennedy's poised, confident appearance compared to Nixon's tired and unwell look played a significant role in influencing voters who were on the fence. Likewise, debates in 2000 and 2016 saw moments that could have made a difference for voters who hadn't yet decided, particularly in battleground states. While the general rule is that debates don't drastically change the trajectory of a campaign, there have been notable exceptions. In some instances, a strong or poor debate performance has had a decisive impact on the election outcome. One prominent example occurred during the 1980 election, when Ronald Reagan faced off against President Jimmy Carter. The debate took place just 1 week before the election, and it was a critical moment in the campaign. Reagan's famous line, "Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?" resonated with millions of Americans who were grappling with economic recession and inflation. This rhetorical question crystallized the public's dissatisfaction with Carter's presidency and helped propel Reagan to a landslide victory. In 2000, the first debate between George W. Bush and Al Gore is another instance where the debate may have influenced the election outcome. Gore's visible frustration and repeated sighs during Bush's answers became a focal point for media coverage after the debate. Though Gore was considered more knowledgeable on policy, his condescending demeanor hurt him in the eyes of many voters. The tight nature of the 2000 election meant that even minor shifts in voter perception could have tipped the balance. The idea of a post-debate bump in polling where a candidate experiences a surge in support immediately following a strong debate performance is often overstated. In most elections, the impact of debates on polling is marginal. According to research by political scientists, the majority of voters have already made up their minds by the time debates occur, and only a small percentage of undecided voters are swayed by debate performances. However, there have been cases where debates have produced a temporary bump for candidates, though this often fades as other events and issues dominate the news cycle. For example, after the first 2012 debate, Mitt Romney's strong performance against President Barack Obama led to a brief surge in the polls. But ultimately, Obama's recovery in the subsequent debates and his strong ground campaign neutralized Romney's gains. The idea of a post-debate bump in polling where a candidate experiences a surge in support immediately following a strong debate performance is often overstated. In most elections, the impact of debates on polling is marginal. According to research by political scientists, the majority of voters have already made up their minds by the time debates occur, and only a small percentage of undecided voters are swayed by debate performances. However, there have been cases where debates have produced a temporary bump for candidates, though this often fades as other events and issues dominate the news cycle. For example, after the first 2012 debate, Mitt Romney's strong performance against President Barack Obama led to a brief surge in the polls. But ultimately, Obama's recovery in the subsequent debates and his strong ground campaign neutralized Romney's gains. Social media's ability to create viral moments has changed the stakes of debates. Today, candidates must be more concerned about how their performance will be clipped and shared online than how they appear to the traditional TV audience. A single misstep, out-of-context quote, or awkward gesture can become a meme or a viral video, potentially shaping public perception in ways that traditional debate analysis cannot. In the 2016 debates, Hillary Clinton's reference to Trump supporters as a basket of deplorables was immediately seized upon by Trump's campaign and transformed into a rallying cry for his base. This moment went viral across social media platforms, further entrenching divisions between supporters of both candidates. Similarly, during the 2020 debates, Joe Biden's exasperated plea, "Will you shut up, man?" in response to Trump's constant interruptions quickly became a viral sensation, resonating with viewers who were frustrated by the chaotic nature of the debate. During the 2020 debates, Joe Biden's phrase, "Will you shut up, man?" was tweeted over 200,000 times within minutes of it being said. The moment encapsulated the chaotic nature of the debate and became an instant viral meme. The rise of Twitter and other microblogging platforms has also shortened the attention span of the political discourse surrounding debates. In the past, post-debate analysis might focus on candidates' policies or performance over the course of the entire event. Today, the narrative is more likely to be shaped by a few key moments, distilled into sound bites that fit neatly into a 280-character tweet or a viral video clip. While this has made debates more engaging for younger audiences, it has also led to concerns that the deeper policy discussions are being lost in favor of spectacle. During the first 2020 presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, over 100,000 memes and GIFs were generated within the first 24 hours, showing how debates have become not just political events but internet phenomena. Social media algorithms also play a significant role in shaping the narrative of presidential debates. Platforms like Facebook and YouTube use algorithms to prioritize content that generates the most engagement, which often means promoting posts that are controversial, sensational, or emotionally charged. This can lead to the amplification of extreme viewpoints and polarizing moments from the debates, which can distort the public's perception of the candidates. For instance, in the aftermath of the 2016 debates, conspiracy theories and misinformation spread rapidly on social media, often reaching millions of users before being debunked. A study by MIT found that false information spreads 6 times faster than the truth on social media platforms like Twitter. This shows how quickly misinformation from a debate can spread and influence public opinion. In recent years, the democratization of media through social platforms has also allowed for more direct voter participation in shaping the content of debates. Instead of solely relying on professional journalists or moderators to ask questions, platforms like YouTube, Twitter, and even Reddit have enabled voters to submit their own questions for candidates. In 2007, CNN partnered with YouTube to hold a democratic debate where users could submit video questions. This innovative format allowed for a more diverse range of topics and injected new voices into the debate. More recently, during the 2020 Democratic primary debates, Twitter allowed users to suggest questions using specific hashtags. This trend of crowdsourcing questions through social media is likely to continue, adding a new dimension to the traditional debate format. The 2007 CNN YouTube Democratic debate marked the first time in U.S. history that debate questions were sourced from the general public via an online platform. Over 5,000 questions were submitted by users, demonstrating the growing influence of digital media on political events. As debates have evolved, so has the role of the moderator. Once viewed as a neutral figure tasked with simply asking questions and enforcing time limits, moderators today are under much more scrutiny, particularly from social media users who can instantly react to their performance. In some cases, moderators have been accused of bias or favoritism based on the way they frame questions or handle interruptions between candidates. In the 2020 debates, moderator Chris Wallace was heavily criticized on social media for his inability to control the chaotic first debate between Trump and Biden. The torrent of criticism on platforms like Twitter and Facebook highlighted the growing role of social media in shaping not just the perception of the candidates, but of the moderators themselves. The pressure from social media means that moderators are now acutely aware of how their performance will be judged in real time, influencing the way they approach their role in the debates. During the first 2020 presidential debate, the hashtag Chris Wallace trended worldwide as social media users debated the moderator's ability to control the discussion. Within hours, the phrase "mute button" became a trending topic, leading to changes in debate format for subsequent events. The viral nature of social media, the pressure on moderators, and the influence of algorithms have fundamentally altered the way debates are perceived and discussed by the public. At the same time, debates still serve as one of the few remaining moments in a campaign where candidates must confront each other directly, offering voters a rare glimpse into their ability to think on their feet and engage with opposing viewpoints. Whether through traditional TV broadcasts or viral tweets, debates will continue to play a key role in U.S. elections, acting as both a reflection of the nation's political discourse and a stage for the future of democracy. Ultimately, the debates are more than just performances. They are a window into how political power is won, lost, and reshaped in an era of unprecedented media transformation. As we move toward future elections, one thing is certain: the intersection of presidential debates and social media will continue to redefine how voters engage with their leaders, and how leaders engage with the world.